So, in the last 3 years, I've read more than 50 books on business and growth, which made me six figures in profit. Today, I will show you the books which had the biggest impact on my business and also summarize the key points so you don't have to read them on your own. Book number one is called Unscripted. I've read this fairly early in my time running my businesses, but I believe it's not so well known. The key lesson from this book is understanding that the reason why most people don't move forward is because they do action faking. Action faking means they do stuff which feels like moving forward, but does not get them anywhere. For example, designing their agency logos or buying a sign which letters CEO. The dangerous thing is that these things feel like moving forward and making progress. So you need to identify where in your life you're action faking and focus on iPaaS only. iPaaS are income producing activities, so prospecting, outreaching, conducting sales calls, and everything else which is directly or indirectly connected with making money. Another lesson I learned is when people compare you to competitors, then they compare you on every single aspect that exists and is showcased. So make sure to be 1 to 2 points better in all of them. Book number two is 100 Million Offers from Alex Hormozi, which is probably the most known and common book of all business books. It's the greatest book I've ever read about value creation and offers, and the main lesson is that a small change in the offer has a greater impact on your revenue than a bigger change in your marketing or sales process. Make the offer so good that people feel stupid saying no. The pillars of a good offer, what he calls a grand slam offer, are visualized in a graph. There are two things which you have to increase and get as high as possible: the outcome and the likelihood of achieving the outcome. On the other side, you need to get the time to result and effort needed from their side as low as possible. Since the first two can go unlimited high, but the last two can only go down to zero, focus on getting the last down first. The next book we have is $100 Million Leads, also from Alex Hormozi. It's the second book Hormozi published immediately after launching 100 Million Offers, and this one is all about generating leads. He talks about that every marketing strategy can be broken down into outbound, inbound, warm, and cold. He recommends to start with cold outbound first and just focus on volume while tracking all the data. Do at least 100 dials or outreaches a day for 3 months without expecting results. Start with creating content, so inbound on the site as well, and give so much that they start to ask. So no pitch at first, just valuable content. Once they start to ask for it, you should then pitch every fifth or sixth content piece. Once you start running ads later on, make sure your lifetime value, so the money you make from one client, is greater than the cost per acquisition. So what you need to spend to acquire one client. So when the LTV is greater than the CAC, you won and you print unlimited money from it. Another powerful thing he speaks about is affiliates. So make sure to offer your existing clients huge incentives in order to get you more clients. Once you build an army of them, leads will flow. Book number four is the last book from Hormozi, $100 Million Money Models. It's his newest book and it's all about pricing structure. The fastest way to double your revenue is to change your pricing structure, aka create a better money model. You don't need to change anything about what you offer or how you deliver it. Examples of money models are: give them the option to choose between bad, free, and a great but expensive offer, buy X and get X free, pay less now, pay more later, upsell them so they spend more money while receiving greater value. A good framing to upsell them is: to be honest, you don't need X, but in my opinion, Y would additionally make a lot of sense. Do you want me to charge the card on file? Downsell options are offering payment plans, removing features of the offer to make it cheaper, anchor them to a higher price point first, and remove what's not necessary, and then show them the normal price. Another good option is to offer additional support so you can turn one-time fees into retainers. Book number five is a sales book called Gap Selling. It teaches a powerful way of selling, which I'm also using and training across my businesses. Gap selling means you sell your offer as a bridge between where they are right now and where they want to go. There's a current and a goal state and a gap in between, which is holding them away from getting to their goal. Your task is to find the gap, widen it through questions, and make them understand what the problem is. So how much revenue they lose because of it and how urgent it is for them to change something about it. There are 3 levels of the problem. The problem itself, which is the obvious thing, for example, not enough leads. Then the root cause, which is the reason for the problem to show up, for example, relying on referrals or no system in place. And finally, the impact, so the pain which the problem creates. It's your duty to discover all of them. In the pitch, you can then show the client how your offer solves the root cause so the problem doesn't show up anymore and the pain disappears. The next one is called The Psychology of Money. The key lesson is that saving money can actually make you rich through the compounding interest effect, which is widely underestimated. One event can change your whole financial situation and life. It's almost every time a single event, like one lucky strike. Warren Buffett, for example, got most of the money he owns after he was 60 years old. So the actions you take right now and every day compound throughout a couple of years and pay out later. The next book is more a collection of principles. It's called The Daily Stoic, and the book is structured to read it throughout 1 year every single day. So it includes 365 principles, and the main lesson for me was to focus on my actions and the things which are inside my control only. To become aware that I'm in full control of my life and also my reaction to events outside of my control. That I need to take responsibility and act in a way that life can reward me for being patient and liked. It's crucial to always give before you ask and become better every single day. The root of everything is your identity. So understand your current identity, who the person is that you need to become to achieve your goals, and work on becoming that person every single day. Actions speak louder than words. Book number 8 is Dot-Com Secrets from Russell Brunson, who is the face of funnel marketing. So the book is all about understanding the fundamentals and advanced strategies of funnels and how to set them up. The biggest lesson for me was that you're always moving the customer through a journey of steps to become a client. There are lead funnels where you offer a freebie in return for their mail address and then convert them by sending email sequences, which again walks them through a journey. There are VSL funnels where you make them watch a video sales letter in return for their mail address, which sells them on the idea of your product, and so on. Always ask yourself, what does the customer need to believe to be true to buy your offer? Identify the funnel type which makes most sense for your product and its price point. Track the data of every stage of the funnel and optimize them. After that, it's all about scaling. So put as much traffic as possible into the funnel by running ads or creating content. Book number 9 is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. The key idea is to stick to one business model or niche, but iterate a lot of different combinations of offers, guarantees, marketing channels, sales process framings, and so on until you find the perfect combination which you can sell on a repetitive basis then. People quit and try something new too fast, but it's only about trying different combinations to find the one that works. With time, you need to remove yourself from the business itself, start working on it, not in it. You need to find points of leverage, so things you can use to create macro results with micro input. Leverage points can be results, case studies, proven mechanisms, outsourcing, one-to-many offers, and so on. The next book we have here is Psycho-Cybernetics, and this book is one of the best I've ever read, I would say. Inside, Maxwell talks about the self-view and paradigm. How you see yourself and the world dictates the outcomes you get. And a really interesting concept is that fear is not real, but just an illusion. When you fear something, you connect the event or situation with a worst case result or outcome. You run it through in your head over and over again before the event even happens. And since your mind cannot differentiate between real and imagined, your body reacts like it's already happening. On top of that, your body does create energy to handle certain situations. If your body believes that you need more energy than you actually need to handle it, it will create too much energy, which will make you feel scared and awkward in your chest. So the feeling you have, which you interpret as fear, is actually just energy. So let it be and reframe it. Fear is just energy produced for you to handle the situation. Book number 11 is a pretty advanced book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. Red oceans are sophisticated niches and market segments. Blue oceans are untapped ones. The main lesson is that every market can become a blue ocean by applying the blue ocean strategy. In order to do so, you need to identify the key factors on which people inside the niche compete. For example, the price, the quality, and the speed, and how good these companies are at them. You will see that the curve and graph is pretty similar between those businesses. In the next step, you just eliminate the factors which are unnecessary for the niche, reduce the ones which are not important, raise important factors, and create factors which don't exist just yet. At the end, you will be only focusing on the few unique factors which will make your business stand out even in a red ocean. Next up, we have Reality Transurfing, also another super advanced book. And this is also a really, really big book with a lot of pages. And it's hard to summarize it, but in a few sentences, the main lesson for me was that beyond reality, there exists something called alternative space. It's a reality which is omnipresent whatever you do. And inside there are different parallel worlds, which consists of the different pathways your life could follow. So there's one world in which you're rich, one in where you work 9 to 5, and so on. The alternative space is bigger than a human can ever imagine. Everything that is, was, or ever will be is stored inside. And also, everything you want already exists in the alternative space. It's all about making the right decisions so the scenario is pulled into your reality and becomes your reality. Book number 13 is another classic book called Scientific Advertising. It's really concise, but one of the most important books ever written in the marketing world. It includes the underlying marketing principles, which will always be true. For example, advertising is creativity plus data. You should use proven formats, frameworks, and structures and adapt them using your creativity. Every decision in your marketing should be data driven. The cycle consists of 4 steps: launch, track, optimize, adapt, and so on. And that marketing has more to do with science than most people believe. The second last book we have is The 1% Method. Pretty sure that most of you know it or even have read it, but it's all about the power of habits and how you can use them to be more productive. Everything you do is controlled by your habits. They are everywhere. Controlling them actively gives you a lot of power over your outcomes. Habits always consist of a trigger, action, process, and reward. To get rid of habits, make the trigger invisible, the action hard, the process long, and the reward not satisfying. To create new ones, make the trigger obvious, the action easy, the process short, and the reward rewarding. After you followed the habit for 21 days straight, it will flow automatically. And lastly, we have the book Pitch Anything, which is another book about sales. And it's pretty much aligned with the gap selling method I talked about before. And the key lesson here is that when you are talking to people, you talk to their part of the brain, which filters out unknown and dangerous things. So when you pitch them, make sure to seem familiar, be different, but not too much so their brain does not label you as a threat. Once their filters let you through, you reach the part of their brain where they consciously understand what you're trying to pitch. Before you reach this part, it doesn't even make sense to pitch them. At this stage, you need to pitch them the product in a way that they buy it based on emotions, but also give them enough reasons and data so they can validate their decisions with logic afterwards. These were the 15 books that had the biggest impact on my business and life. But remember that reading and consuming is only a small part of the equation. It's more about putting it into action and acting on the things immediately. If you're running an agency and you're currently making less than 10K a month, then I have a gift for you for watching the video until the end. If you click the link in the description, you can watch my free agency blueprint on how you can sign your first 2 to 4K a month retainer client, even without experience or doing 100 cold calls a day. See you in the next one.